Welcome back. You're watching The Full View. We're joined now by Gauteng Human Settlements spokesperson Khoza. Keith, good evening and thank you for joining us.
Good evening.
Now, this situation in Alexandra, this powder keg that's been, burning for a couple of years now. Alexandra seems to be a hotbed for problems with human settlements, RDP housing. There are allegations that foreign nationals have been alleging that police are complicit in helping locals evict them from these RDP houses which they've legitimately bought. So what do you say to that?
Well, there is no evidence to that at the moment. We've sent our team that does investigation to look into the matter. Up until now, they haven't found police complicity in dealing with this matter. However, we are aware that there are very serious allegations of local residents who use firearms to go into houses, evicting people because they believe they are foreign nationals.
Okay, so are local residents in Alexandra waging some kind of war against foreign nationals who have moved into this area?
Well, they are saying they are, in their own way, they are dealing with corruption, which has happened. They're looking at it from...
Corruption meaning amongst the housing department officials?
Yes, that's the allegation.
So
that
local people are accusing...
allocated houses to foreign nationals, which often has been found not to be the case. However, we do not rule that out.
Okay, so when you say that they found not to be that case, have you conducted investigations? Have officials been accused and have been thorough ongoing investigations to determine this?
Yeah, in most cases that we followed through on these matters, we found that people who are located RDP houses are actually selling them. They're selling them to the highest bidder.
Okay.
And foreigners, because of their levels of desperation, would pay more as opposed to a national to get the house. And that's where the problem is. However, as I said, we're not ruling out that in some instances there might have been officials involved in getting money from the foreign nationals.
Because there would have to be
houses.
There would have to be, if the process is where a local resident is allocated, they've been sitting on a waiting list. There's 600,000 of them on a waiting list. They've been sitting on a waiting list for quite some time. When they get allocated an RDP house, they then have an option of either occupying it or falling into this other corrupt activity of selling it to foreigners at a premium price.
Well, let me give you an anecdotal example of what we've found. We're given 34 names in Alexandra, supposedly of houses occupied by foreign nationals. Our team has so far found out that 15 of the 34 are actually South Africans. However, we have not concluded our investigation.
These are legitimate South Africans. Their identities have been verified.
These are South Africans. However, we're not certain if they qualified.
Okay.
You see, there is the flip side of it, where people who did not apply for housing, who do not qualify, find themselves in those housing, either through greasing the hand of somebody or buying it from someone. So you could find that it was a transaction between two South Africans. But in terms of the housing policy, the person that bought do not qualify. So they're getting it for almost next to nothing. So it is also an area that requires attention. The second area that requires attention is in the area where a foreign national has bought the house. They do not qualify
for buying a house
in South Africa, particularly the RDP houses, because they pay for next to nothing. Remember, our program is to eradicate informal settlements. Now, if we give people houses and they sell them, it takes us backwards.
It goes against the grain of the impetus for providing housing to South Africans legitimately.
And that creates a problem. But now the problem that we're sitting with now is people who want to take law into their own hands to go and evict. Now, the challenge with that, you might find yourself being at odds with the law, because the process of evictions in South Africa is clearly defined in terms of our legislation. the court must be involved. You need to apply for an eviction order. The court must grant the eviction order. And then you can carry out the eviction order using law enforcement agencies to assist.
Yes.
Now, when these people do this, they're doing something illegal to correct something that may have been illegal.
Yes.
So you find that now there are two wrongs that are not righting anything.
So let's just maybe bring you back. What is the department doing about the situation in Alex?
We are investigating, like we have asked people to come forward with the names and addresses of the people that are supposedly foreign nationals who are staying in these houses. We're given a list of 34.
Yes.
We're going through that list, working together with the Department of Home Affairs,
yes,
with the immigration officers, and as well as the DH office, to verify all these things.
Yes.
And once we find that indeed somebody has bought that house in an irregular way, we have to remove it.
Are you working with the police to contain acts of violence?
We have to work with the police. If we don't, it's going to be chaotic.
Yes, okay. All right. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, Keith Khoza. That was Human Settlements spokesperson, Keith Khoza.